Welcome back to episode 3 of Spellstorm Miniatures. My name is Jeremiah, and with me is Dan.
How you doing?
Hey, we're doing pretty good. This morning, we're going to have a conversation about some of the games we play, and our goal here is to inspire our listeners to play more. One of the first things I want to talk about this morning is actually some of the Kickstarter things that we have backed,
Yes.
and some of the things that we've done. So, Dan, why don't you get started? Why don't you share with me about one of the projects that you have recently backed, and you did a little show and tell on YouTube. Tell us about that.
Right. Oh, yeah. Just one. The Kickstarter hole is real. You can get easily sucked down. So one, actually, as Jeremiah hinted to, I did a unboxing video of the Reckoners. It was kind of the game mechanic intrigued me a little bit. It's not so many miniatures to it, but there's a few of them. You got your heroes, which are your reckoners. They're your everyday people, and then you have these epics, which are the superheroes. Well, in this case, they're superpowered people, but every superpowered person is a villain. So it's a little twist to it. You know, there are no good superheroes to fight those bad superheroes or super villains. So. So I ended up kickstarting that and got delivered right up pretty much on time.
Is it just like a skirmish level kind of game?
Little,
more of a
so
board
it's,
game?
Yeah, you're co-oping. Sorry, good question. You're co-oping with your other Reckoners, and the epics, the bad guys, are kind of controlled by, the game board. It walks you through a little bit. And so you're trying to take over territories, essentially take parts of the city back, and eventually work through all the lower guys to get to Steelheart, which is like your big, bad, almost Superman, level type guy. So he's your hardest one. And you go through and you find your secrets and how to defeat them. So, you're allocating...
So it's like a co-op board game.
Yeah, allocating your resources that you have between each other and equipment and handing them out.
Nice. I love those things.
Right.
And you said you did unboxing?
Yes, so I have an unboxing video of that to basically display the miniatures. I ended up springing for the pre-painted version since there was like 10 miniatures or so. It was like $20. I figured
that's not bad.
Extra, why not? Like pre-painted out there. So if you want to see how they ended up turning out, go ahead and check out our YouTube channel for that. Nice.
Yeah, I recently did an unboxing also on our YouTube channel for The Other Side. It's a miniatures game put out by Weird Miniatures, and they're the folks who make Malifaux. And so Malifaux is a small skirmish game where The Other Side is going to be more of an army-sized kind of game. That one took a long time to deliver, but now that it's in my hand, I'm very happy. It looks great.
Yeah, they do look pretty nice.
Yeah. So I also kickstarted a couple other things, Dan, that I must confess to you and to our listeners. I kickstarted a little one called Killer Rabbits. So these are little 28 millimeter rabbits that are done in a fantasy style, medieval kind of fantasy style, and so you get. So you're getting, spears and shields kind of thing, and there's only going to be 10 of them, and so I'm going to use them for something like Frostgrave, I think. Nice. I can even use them in some D&D campaigns and things like that, depending on what we end up doing with our group. But I couldn't pass on it. It was super cheap. They looked so good, and they're based on these miniatures are based on I think some kind of drawing that some artist did, and so they're being converted into miniatures. But Dan, I also kickstarted another one in the last couple months. Yeah, this one is the Old Salt. These are rats that are pirates. Pirate rats, Dan.
Alrighty.
I'm in a big pirate kick right now. Obviously, we play War Machine. Pirate is a huge theme in the game, and I think I want to maybe put these rats on 40 mil bases. 30 mil bases, and so they can be a substitute for my press gangers.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
That would be, I'll allow it.
So, in a home game, I'm sure you guys will allow it, but anyway, how about you? Have you kickstarted any other projects recently?
I have, and
confession time.
Yeah, no.
Here we go. I hope our wives aren't listening.
Yeah. What's funny is like when you think the rabbits, I just like automatically thought of like a D&D adventure of like Monty Python, like Revenge of the Rabbit,
Oh yeah, the grenade. Where they're trying to kill one with a grenade.
Grenade. Thou shalt count to 3, no more, no less. if they took him out, now his buddies are back for revenge.
There it is.
So there you go. Yeah, so I've actually, like I said, done a few of them. To note is Batman Chronicles.
Yeah.
That one was a while ago, and still got to wait a while for that one. But that one looks pretty cool. You know, whole DC Batman universe out there. Some again really nice minis, big T-Rex, Batmobile. I mean,
Wait a minute. They made the Batmobile?
yep.
Did you spring for that?
Yes, I did. I went all in.
Oh, that's going to be glorious.
Yeah, it'll be pretty cool. So that'll be fun, and it's based on the Conan system, which people seem to love. So
And
Monolith.
is that Mophidius? Is that the company that makes that?
Monolith.
Oh, Monolith. Okay.
Yeah, they made like there's so many backers for that thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just before that, which hopefully I'll have soon, and I'll try to do a boxing video, is Chronicle X a little bit. If you liked XCOM, the video game,
Yeah.
it's basically like that, but named differently.
Okay.
Again, you're kind of co-op going through the map, fighting some aliens, getting some gear, upgrading it. So
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to that one too. Has a lot of cool minis on that one as well.
Nice. See, I'm all about the miniatures.
Right.
I love the minis, and I have a whole backlog of things that I need to build and paint and things like that.
Those
But
suck me in. So yeah.
They do. But one of the things I'm looking forward to is I'm looking forward to sharing our unboxings. I'm
Yes.
looking forward to getting them painted and put on the table, and then just sharing with our listeners.
Yep.
And once again, inspire people just to keep playing more games.
Yep.
So I want to, we play War Machine in Hordes. It's our primary game.
Yes.
But I wanted to give some space for some of the other games that we play, and just so that people know that we're not robots and that we're like super nerds. And I wear that badge proudly. So one of the games I'm participating in a role-playing group. We meet, every other week for a couple hours, and right now we're playing Starfinder, and that's the science fiction kind of extension of the Pathfinder world, and it's fabulous. We have a couple guys in our group that are really getting into it, and we got one guy who's modding models to represent things on that's going on in the story, and he does a great job painting them. That's my friend Carl, and our DM comes so prepared every time, which is really helpful because it's a more complex game in my head than fantasy. Like I can jump into almost any fantasy setting and just kind of figure it out and play. But when you jump into the sci-fi world, there's a part of me that wants to pay more attention to some of the idiosyncrasies of the technology and cultural development.
All the ships and species.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, yeah. So I'm a little more delicate, a little less. I would say in this group I actually talk less than I normally do in other groups. So, which is curious because I'm a high charismatic character. But anyway,
you just look good. Speak good.
There it is. Yeah, it's it's my beard. No. But and and I have a family of 6. We play games all the time. One of the challenges we have is playing games where 6 people can play, and so our favorite family game is 7 Wonders. 6 players can easily play that. We have all the expansions, and we go to town. Like we even have a spreadsheet now where we record who won and with which wonder. And then we also have a record for who has scored the most points. And so my oldest son, he keeps track of that. So
you guys are serious.
We are very serious 7 Wonders players. And my daughter, Addie, she has the record for winning 7 games in a row.
Wow.
She was intense last year. It was around Christmas time. She could not lose, and we could not beat her. And we play random games all the time. This past weekend, I picked up a game from the youth section at Guardian Games downtown Portland, and it's a little card game that was put out by Weird for several years ago, and it's a bluffing game, and it's so much fun. Like it's so simple. You can just carry it with you, and you could put a game down in 10 minutes, and you're done. And it's a nice thing to kill some time. But what about you? What other games do you play?
So again, War Machine Hordes has been taking up the majority of the time. Actually, from I think one person that's in your Starfinder group, Michael's in there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he picked up kind of Infinity. I believe we all started talking about it, and then he jumped on it and got some figures and kind of showed him. I was like, all right, this is interesting. Again, kind of that sci-fi, spacey, neo,
And the models are gorgeous.
right? Yeah, they're pretty simple. So I picked some of those guys up. Ended up getting some Pano figures.
Right on.
And so I'll be opening those, and maybe I'll put those up and try to film to show those off to see how they kind of compare to War Machine a little bit. They are a little different and definitely a little bit smaller, and they play on a smaller base size a little bit.
Yeah.
But again, it fills kind of the different role, giving orders, jumping around. So kind of excited to see where that eventually goes. Now I just have a bunch of models sitting around, getting that addiction of just I'll get the models and I'll play someday, but finding the time to really play.
Yeah. Well, Infinity, it's such an intriguing rule set. Like it's I understand there's a lot of crunch, but if you understand the crunch, then you get a lot more interaction.
Yeah.
Like there are things that sort of interrupt the flow of a turn, and so both parties are actively involved.
Yep.
It's a little bit different than like for example Warhammer, where one guy will take 15, 20 minutes all moving all his whole army, and you're standing around and go get a drink, come back, whatever.
He's still moving.
Yeah. So I mean, my Warhammer games with Ozzy at home are grueling. Like we after a while we just kind of call it. And
Need a death clock in that game, I guess.
Yeah. Well, what's interesting is War Machine and Hordes has always sort of used a chess clock. Maybe not always, but with the rule set for War Machine and Hordes, having a chess clock makes a lot of sense. And what's happening in the Warhammer community is you're starting to see more and more chess clocks being used, and I listened to several podcasts, and they're talking about it more and more. And even one of the podcasts I listened to, they now have a chess clock manufacturer as one of their sponsors.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And what's curious, I coach chess. I coach high school chess, and so I use those same clocks when I coach, the students on how to play chess. So I'm actually pretty excited about that maybe kind of uniformity,
right.
And just embracing that other kind of win condition. So yeah, any other games?
That's just been the main ones right now. I don't have anything too pressing at the point. Just the typical board games, trying to get people together for the board game nights. But
yeah, we're pretty happy. We're part of a group that meets maybe once, twice a quarter. Sometimes an extra one will get slid in there, but just a bunch of adults. We get together and we leave the kids at home and we play games. And usually there's we'll start the evening with one kind of big party game, and then we kind of break out. And there's always like one room with more serious kind of games,
right.
and the other room where there's more friendly.
People get tired. They move over. You get those filler games, and you get off schedule. Yeah.
Yeah. So my buddy Joe, he organizes that and hosts that. So it's nice to be a part of it. We've been doing that for several years. Yeah. So, and actually, speaking of Joe, Joe and Jen and my wife and I, we play Pandemic Legacy together, and so we did season 1. And then now we are doing season 2. We just did the prologue for that. So looking forward to it. The season 2 uses a slightly different sort of, not necessarily a mechanic, but a flow of information, if you will, or a flow of resources. It's sort of in reverse to regular Pandemic, and so it's going to give a really fun, different flavor to the game. So, but so we're gamers. Yep. We're hobbyists. What do you have on your hobby desk right now?
Oh, sadly, I'm still sitting on my ironback spitter. I haven't picked up a paintbrush in like 3 weeks now. Oh. It's kind of sad. It's just life and stuff going on, right? And so, what I'm really disappointed is Oregon here is starting to turn. The weather is getting a little bit more down, and so priming is going to be an issue. So I'm kind of. Right now, I'm looking towards stocking up some models, building up what I think I'm going to be using for the next year, which I'm still undecided. Signar, Trollbloods, I don't know, and or just stick with minions. I don't know, just waffling all over. So I got to really get those put together, and so when even the remotely good day comes out, I can just prime a bunch and set them away for the winter and get it going.
Yeah, that's true. The weather is turning quite fast for us. That's one of the reasons why I'm thinking about saving my pennies for an airbrush. So my birthday and Christmas is coming up, and so I've modified my Amazon wish list appropriately to to those two items specifically. So
Nice.
maybe I'll get one of them. Obviously, one of them being a compressor, but yeah, I think that would really help with. Because Ozzy has some models that he needs primed and painted, and I have models I need primed and painted. So, yeah, my hobby desk, I started building my Scorn army, and it feels really good to see them on the table. They look really fantastic. Right. So, I don't have enough for a full list yet. Ozzy and I were kind of doing our own Journeyman League at home. Play the battle box level and that sort of thing. And that's how he got invited into the game, and that's how he started to really learn his army and really learn the rules. And so we're going to do that for me this time, as I slowly build up my Scorn. But there's some pressure because there's some events coming up that I want to play in, and I really want to play my Scorn. But at the same time, I already have Khador built. and I pop into the Cephalix Facebook page, and every time I do that, I want to play Cephalix, and I have my Cephalix built. So it's like, right. I can play anything. And so I just really haven't done it. Anything else on your hobby desk?
Nope, that's pretty much it for me. Well, I guess I'm still working on a Dracodile lava base. Right. I should get some photos of that up. And
this is the red Dracodile,
yeah,
right?
Yeah. My son wanted a lava dragon, basically. So this is the closest thing I can kind of do. So that's been a learning curve and adventure, and why it's taken a while trying some abstract materials in order to make it work. But
yeah. So the last couple of nights, my quote unquote hobby time has actually been replaced with a little project that I've been working on. And so, we're part of a few Discord servers where we talk about the games we play. And a lot of folks will have a question about, hey, where do I get this, or, this certain material, or does anybody have an idea for basing and things like that? And so what I've done is I've actually gone back through and I've found all the links that have been shared by the different people in the group, and I created a spreadsheet. And my goal for that is for it to grow, and each entry I want to be a helpful link that people can to use. Like, for example, I'm using Death Ray Designs base inserts for my Malifaux models, and it looks gorgeous. They just fit so nicely inside the lip of the base, and it's thematically it's appropriate. And when I get to the painting side of it, it's just going to fit really nicely. And I think if they had access to those kinds of things, it could really help them in their hobby progress.
Yes.
So anyway, I've created the spreadsheet, and I've been slowly adding to it as more and more people are sharing resources. And then I've shared the link publicly with our server. Maybe I'll attach the link to the show notes of this episode too. But there's a lot of great resources out there that folks don't know about. There's one company, I think in Poland, that is doing widgets and different things like that, and they look very nice. You pay a premium on shipping, but for a serious hobbyist and for someone who we all have money that we invest into this, and into hobbies, and so sometimes diverting that funds for something like that is appropriate. Yeah. So anyway, that's pretty much what's been on my hobby desk. So that, and learning how to record podcast episodes. I feel like we're getting better at that.
Yeah, it's getting better. We'll work on video next, I think.
Yeah. So why don't we turn to our bread and butter? Why don't we start talking about War Machine?
Excellent.
And we there's a lot of great things happening for some stuff going on. You have what's going on for you?
As far as event wise is going on.
Well, I was thinking any new releases that you have your eye on.
I got you.
I think that's what you were nodding at earlier.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, yeah. And so, yeah, there's been a couple. And actually, I just ordered one a little bit ago. Was the Eilish the Occultist instead of Eilish Garrity. So.
That's right. That's the model that they released for No Quarter Prime a year ago.
Yes.
And it was exclusive only to that issue.
Yeah. And I didn't start playing until after No Quarter Prime 1 came out.
Oh.
I started playing like No Quarter Prime just before No Quarter Prime 2 came out. So I had no idea about it. I would have probably signed up and then would have had them and been happy. But hey, instead of paying $50 on some aftermarket sites, now he's $15, a little different sculpt.
Yeah.
It
looks good. I think the sculpt looks good.
Yeah. They changed it up just a little bit, so you'll be able to tell the difference. But that doesn't bother me. It's kind of like using Jake's Kickstarter versus non-Kickstarter Jake's in Signar. Does it really matter? So so I'm excited about that. And then what's almost got me thinking about sticking with minions a little bit, or the trolls could work too, is the Under Chief Meyer, Under Chief Meyer, Under Meyer Chief,
Under
Meyer Chief. Yeah, I keep confusing his language. I know we have our phones and computers and everything else we can probably use, but yes, so he looks pretty cool. The new Croak Lesser for the Horde side, which mixes it up quite a bit, is really neat since all the lessers have been where you had to have a dedicated war beast, such as Wrong Eye Snapjaw, Dahlia Scarith, Rorschenbrine, right? And so this allows it to mix it up a little bit. And take swamp trolls into minions, which it could just be fun, I know some people have ideas for some thematic lists out there or puns, but
Ozzy is one of those persons. So when he first started playing, his the thing that he picked up first was trolls, and then I think one of the games he played against you had some croaks. You had some nicely painted croaks.
Croak Raiders. Yeah.
And so he was like, oh, what are those? And I want those. And so he has built an entire croaks list with a few kind of filler points in there. Max croak hunters and trappers and the raiders, and also with the Undermire. Or with Meyer, I guess. Meyer 1 is his name.
Chief Meyer.
Under Chief Meyer. So we did have it right. Very good. And anyway, we don't have a Croak full Warlock yet.
Correct.
And so he's chosen to use Rask as his caster, as a Warlock for that list. And so Ozzy is all about it. So that's all he's been working on, is getting his Croak list. In fact, for the next event, I think that's what he's going to run. And we poke at him a little bit. It's not optimal. There's a few holes there in terms of how we can maximize the list, but it's what he wants to play. And so he wants to run every single croak in the list, and so he's going to be able to.
Well, it's fun. And he does good. Not everyone would run, was it Mulg or Rock that he ran past and got like 5 free strikes from?
Oh, man, it was Mulg.
I mean, not everyone would do that, but...
Yeah, he just breaks the mold, that kid. But, so, my last purchase was to get Meyer for Oz, and then we're done for a while. Our play money has sort of ran out, and we have to be thinking about the holidays and gifts for family and things like that. So we are not playing with anything new for a while. We have to play with the old stuff that we have. But that's how it goes, right?
Yeah, there's plenty of it. I mean, you can reinvent with what you guys have,
Yeah, we can have a lot of fun. So we do, I mentioned it, there are a few events coming up, and one of the events that's going on currently is the November Point a Day Challenge. And so basically, 30 days in November, 30 points. And the challenge is to get 30 points painted up. Warlocks and Warcasters, since they don't have traditional point values, are given 10 points. So you can do a Warjack, you can do a solo, and you can do a caster, and chances are it's probably 30 points, or you can be brutal like me and try to do 2 units with UA and then brutally fail, which is what I did at the last point-a-day challenge.
It's a lot of guys.
Yeah. Dan, are you participating in the challenge?
I tried it the first couple months, and again, kind of pulled the same thing. I got about halfway, about 16, 17 points, respectively, in the months, and then did this. I mean, I know it's all for fun anyway. There's no there's no money on the line or it's just more of trying to get everyone like responsible for each other, kind of help put the pressure on.
Yeah, it's not a contest.
Yeah.
It's a challenge. It's an encouragement. It's meant to inspire people to do it. Yeah.
So, no, and again, since the last couple weeks, I just haven't had time. I kind of bound this one out and hopefully come stronger December and knock some out.
Yeah. The next event is actually this Saturday. It's the Portland Game Store quarterly 32-man Volume 2 with a vengeance.
Back.
I love these names. Ben's a creative guy. So our goal is to try to get 32 players in a tournament this coming Saturday. And I heard that there's some folks coming down from Washington to join us. Yep. So it's pretty exciting. The space is great. It's a huge space, and so a lot of time just you can spread out. You're not going to feel squished at all, and it's at a local church, and so that's cool that they're letting us use the space.
Well, them, you don't have to be too
modest. But yeah, I'm going to play in it, and Oz is going to play in it. What about you, Dan? You going to play in it?
No, unfortunately, there's some other things going on. I can't commit to the time, although I fully plan on showing up at the camcorder and try to set up at a table. I'm kind of putting it out there because this way is going to kind of hold me to it a little bit.
Yeah.
Got to figure that out. I've gotten some good advice from some of the other bat rep guys out there, like Deathclock Dave and stuff. It's kind of giving me some suggestions. And
nice.
And so I'm going to maybe use that if I can figure it out in time. If I can't, it'll just be, kind of what you see a lot of those other guys just up there and just watching over the tables and just live mic it. So, I'm going to have to put that disclaimer that, hey, it's going to be audio unedited. So, viewer beware.
Sure.
But I think it'd be kind of fun just to get a lot of the local guys and showing some of the play style. And
nice. The Portland meta, the Portland area right now is just hopping. There's a lot of great events because as soon as the quarterly is done on Saturday, next Monday we're starting the Portland Journeyman League, and this is pretty awesome because it's going to run for 6 weeks, and players will be matched up with other players, and it is up to the players to connect during that week. And they can play at any of the Portland area stores on any of the nights, and they just report the results to the tournament organizer. And then at the end of the event, the winners get, I think it's going to be in-store credit at Guardian Games because that's the most central store with all the stores. So we're up in the air about whether we're going to actually participate in that. Ozzy's kind of weary about having to schedule midweek games with homework and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And so we're not sure about what we're going to do. What about you, Dan? Are you going to participate in the Journeyman League?
I'm kind of the same way. Again, being a realtor kind of gives me some free time, but it also means more of that free time's during the week. And again, like you said, that midweek, evenings are a little bit tougher for me. Weekends get a little bit cramped with stuff.
Sure.
And so being able to try to schedule those games, especially with this journeyman, is because it's scaling in points, you need to get your games in pretty quick as it scales throughout the week. So, again, I'm going to kind of bow out of this one just in fear of not being able to connect with a lot of these guys and get the games in. And then, I don't want to, they don't want to take the win just from a concession, and I don't want to, give them that. They want to play. People, everyone wants to get out there and get a game in, win or lose, right?
One of the things that's really exciting about the Journeyman League is that we've actually had a lot of newer players join, pick up the game recently, and so a Journeyman League is a fantastic way to get players involved. And even if I'd say if you've been playing forever too, it's a great way to kind of hit the reset button just to feel good about playing the game for funsies again. But I was going to mention one more thing about the Journeyman League, and it completely escaped my mind. It's just gone. It's not even there.
Well, you think about that. I was going to say, I'll add on a little bit is, like I said, people playing the game for a while. This is a decent way to restart on like a new faction. Even I think there's a few people that have posted that way that they've been playing one forever, and now they're going to be like Crucible Guard. I think sounds like a pretty popular one.
Yeah.
And I hate to see what that Vulcan looks like on a low point game, but
Well, there's limitations.
Yeah.
Like at the 0 and the 15-point level, you can only have certain kinds of models.
There you go.
You know, in your force, and you can't use theme forces until you're up a few steps and things like that. So, and there's a limitation on which caster you can use. Actually, if you can find the rules privateerpress.com and you know, to learn more about how to do a journeyman league. But I think it's brilliant. It's a great way to get folks started. So whether they're starting a new faction like you mentioned, or if they're starting the game entirely, so it's pretty cool. Then later this month we have the Portland Game Store Steamroller Turkey Hangover Redux. I think that's going to be on the Sunday of the holiday weekend.
Yes.
And I'm not participating in that. I work Sundays, so. But I know that there's plenty of guys who have the weekends off, and they'll do those things. So and then in December, on December 8th, we have the Three Commanders. Tell us about that event.
Yeah, so the Three Commanders, that one's going to be a little twist on the WTC kind of format, 5-man team. The I-5, same way was in this way, doing 3-person teams, and I believe it's being limited to 8 teams. And so that should, be a little fun. 3 rounds this time around, it looks like, if they get up to that. And so it will be a little more interesting. You got a team going. I know we're going to be on opposite teams on this one.
That's right. I'm on the best team. I'm on the Jer Bears. I don't care how we finish. We're going to look good doing it.
Exactly. I want to see some cool costumes if you're calling yourself the Jer Bears. Just saying.
I'm using gummy bears as my tokens.
Don't get hungry. Wait, there was focus on that guy. So I think I'm going to be teaming, it looks like, with a couple of guys that we had for the I-5. And so it brings a different dynamic again, even to it, where 5 people, you could kind of make the matchups a little bit better. Now you only have 3 trying to cover matchups. Like, how do you do it? Again, table versus choosing matchups when, again, there's more limited. Yeah. So it's a little extra.
Yeah, I think in this style format, at best, you should expect a 50-50 kind of matchup.
Yeah.
And maybe one round, one guy has an advantage. I mean, that's... Yeah. It's going to be really hard to hide a disadvantage in a 3-man tournament. So that's coming up in December, and then things kind of die down for the holidays, and then in January on the 14th we're going to start the 2019 Masters League, and so that looks very exciting. They're going to put us in pods, and we have to like in groups, and then you have to play through your group, and then like the winner of your group gets to advance. So we did a version of that last year, and it was great. And I wasn't able to finish my pod games, but I was on track to potentially win our pod, but I didn't get that last one in, and so we had another guy go, and he did great. So representing our group, but. All of these events can be found at thecogcollective.com. That's the forums that really kind of highlights what's going on in the Pacific Northwest. And we want to invite anybody from the Portland area, Bend, Salem, Vancouver, Tacoma, anybody who is looking for a fun event to participate in, and they want to come into town. Find our events there, and we have a great group of guys who are participating right now. This is a great time to be a War Machine player. So I just want to encourage everyone to do that. So we're going to wrap up relatively soon. I think today was just a friendly conversation about different things, but the thing that we want to do is we want to thank all of our listeners, and we want to thank everyone for listening to our episodes, giving us some feedback on how we can improve as hosts, and thank you for reading our articles and for watching our YouTube videos. We appreciate that. We just want to support the community. Like I said just a minute ago, it's a great time to be a War Machine player, and so we just want to be a part of that wave that supports what's going on. I'm going to say a special a special thank you, a huge shout out to one listener in particular, because this listener actually purchased our equipment that we're podcasting with to help us get it started. She believed in us, and she wanted us to be successful. And she said, "What do you need to get started?" And she got us to this point. Dan, you want to chime in there? Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's definitely really appreciated. It was almost one of those chicken and the egg scenarios where we knew we wanted to get started, but we didn't necessarily know how to get started. We knew we needed some gear. We had a little bit of gear, but was it the right gear?
Right.
And so, she was able to kind of come in and help sort that out for us. And so it was definitely very, very helpful.
Yeah, she wishes to remain anonymous, but if she's listening to this episode right now, we just want to say thank you. We appreciate you so much. So for the rest of you out there, once again, we'd love to hear from you. Like us on Facebook, interact with us there. Let us know what you think of what we're doing. Follow us on Twitter. And, of course, find everything at our website at spellstormminiatures.com. Any last words, Dan?
No, I think that kind of sums it up. I know we have some plans coming down the line that, when we're ready to put things out there and things are finalized, that there'll be some exciting times as we're trying to grow this.
We're going to have our own sponsored event in 2019, aren't we?
That's the idea. So, like I said, still working out the details and figuring some things out with people, but when we know, we'll let all you guys know.
Yeah, thank you. And everyone have a great day. And just remember, we just want to inspire you to play more games.
Bum, 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 bum.